Hey guys, it's Matt. I finally understand some of the comments around Joe Rogan and Billy Corrigan. Apparently, Billy Corrigan of the Smashing Pumpkins was on the.
Hey guys, it's Matt. I'm still very sick. This can't wait. I don't know if it's the hallucinations of a high fever or what caused this. I'm going to read this as much as I've read or written. I'm going to make mistakes. I don't have time to redo this. This is not part of the book. I need the greatest group of people that have ever been assembled to understanding what this reality is, to literally sit down and not enjoy this, but to really, really think this out. If there's a 1 in 5 chance that I'm right about any of this, it's insightful, it's also scary. So hopefully, I don't know. Part of me says, well, maybe I'm right, but maybe I'm hoping I'm wrong. I don't know. But I need you guys to criticize this or support it with everything you know and everything you've learned. And in other words, this is not a fun listen. Please only comment on the subject matter here. I don't know. Let me just get to it. Is it an insight into the nature of this reality? I don't know. But I'm rushing it out, sick as a dog, so I guess I think it might be. All right. What do we know? 1. We know that everything in this reality breaks down upon close examination. By the way, guys, I'm also going to go pretty slow so you can absorb each section. This is, we got to put our minds together here. 1. We know everything in this reality breaks down upon close examination. For those over here on this side of crazy, we've done the research. We know for a fact that 9/11 had nothing to do with 19 hijackers. We know that most mass shootings are fake. Let me remind anybody listening, we know these things. We don't suspect these things, we say. We don't think. We know. We know nobody went or can go to the moon. We know the official reason for every major war is a false construct. Then if you're LBJ, you can falsify reasons to keep the war and the killing going. Look at the so-called start of World War I, about how the world went to war over a shooting of some fat arch dick, probably somebody nobody liked. People are like, Matt, if you're trying to reveal metaphysical reality, why are you making jokes again in your reading? It's just the way I write. This isn't littered with jokes, don't worry. The story of how World War I started is absurd. And what's interesting, if you go search the history on World War I now, you get a lot of official documentaries saying we don't quite know how World War I started. Everything's a construct. We know Kennedy, and the Kennedy assassination was basically a stage show. We know the sky outside can be clear blue, and then around noon, after just 8 or 10 planes pass overhead, the entire sky becomes a hazy white cloud. The 40,000 flights a day in the United States follow what are called shipping lanes. If just one plane made a 100-mile-long thick trail, they all would. We would never then ever see a blue sky on days with those humidity conditions. We know they have cures for cancer. We know they have free energy. Imagine George Carlin now saying, "We don't get those free cures, do we?" I understand how ridiculously conspiratorial all this sounds to anybody new, for those listening. Sorry, we don't have a few years to bring you up to speed. If you find this essay to be well written and well thought out, how do you reconcile that with your paranoid schizophrenic diagnosis that you've already given me? For those who can see, reality seems to break down daily on us anymore. Now we see that the moon is actually inside the Earth's atmosphere, according to RT. And there's not a single New England Journal of Medicine paper definitively linking HIV to AIDS. Where'd that come from? Here's a science journal. Wow, what's it say? It says that the astronauts on the International Space Station experience 90% of Earth's gravity. It just looks like everything's floating around because they're all free-falling around the Earth. Our leaders participate in a pagan ritual in the groves in California once a year, and European leaders participate in their own Gotthard Tunnel pagan ritual. The Chinese are just collecting gold every month because this economic collapse is just bound to happen any week now. With this many reality breakdowns that I've looked at over many, many years, that's it. I'm done with it. I'm not chasing the next rabbit in his hole. I'm not spending one more minute on trying to figure out what Tartaria is all about or mud floods. I'm done chasing the rabbit. At some point, even the craziest of patients should figure out he's in an insane asylum, and the insane asylum ain't the real world. To recap this section, which is number 1, we now know all of reality breaks down upon close examination. I believe all these YouTube channels now exist in these truth circles to get you to think about your situation in the wrong way, that perhaps you can fix it in the wrong way. Do I have the right way? We'll see. Again, to go slowly, 1 is all of reality for those listening to this in these circles has pretty much broken down. Oh, what happened this week? Oh, the moon's in the Earth's atmosphere? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, these once-in-a-lifetime revelations are coming weekly. Now, that doesn't add up. Let's move on to number 2. We know we can see these things that others around us cannot see. Is it that they don't want to see it, or they can't see it? Literally can't see it. Think about that. I no longer accept the premise that people around us simply choose not to see the ugly truths of this world, trying to protect their worldview. You've heard me talk about that for 100 years. They just try to protect their worldview. I don't know if I buy the simple explanations anymore. I no longer accept that people are employing mental defense mechanisms to hide the real world from their sight. For years, that's all I believed, because that's all that was possible inside the narrow confines of what I called reality. By now, we've all been conditioned into thinking that our box of reality is the size of the Pacific Ocean. It's so big because we're free thinkers, when our box is probably the size of a Tic-Tac box. I believe it's far more complicated, and things are at play here beyond our perception, and without more knowledge, beyond our comprehension. I now believe that our friends, family, and neighbors may literally can't see what we see, which means I'm past. They just choose not to look at these scary things because they choose to protect their worldview. Many people I'm speaking to right now are not Mandela affected. But before you roll your eyes at me, it is you I'm speaking to most here, those that are not Mandela affected. In the case of the Mandela effect, it's clear that most people simply can't see any changes. Even those that are affected, we don't see the same things. Of course, to those people who don't see any changes, after working for years to expand their minds to see that their own government perpetrated 9/11, they resort right back to the old habits and calling those who see things that they don't understand nuts. Regarding the Mandela effect, it's not like they're afraid to see the change or are protecting their worldview. Most people here listening to this don't see any changes. They can't see any changes because those changes do not affect or in any way part of their reality. There was no change in their reality. This is how the Mandela effect works for those that are not familiar with it. I believe we should apply this lesson, though, to the reality breakdowns occurring all around us. It's a good lesson, no matter what you think of the Mandela effect. How long before I entertain that my uncle or my best friend simply can't see what we see? Literally can't see it. How much more evidence do we need that potentially they literally can't see it? I've shown people a giggling Robbie Parker the day after his own daughter's supposed death, and people explain it away as people respond differently to death. They explain it away all over the place. See, we can look at something that's so clear, and you show it to somebody right next to you, and they see it, there's something appearing on the screen, but what you're saying is not part of their reality. Potentially literally not part of the reality. Like people saying Robbie Parker, well, people respond to death differently. No, they don't. They cry when their little daughter is killed in a shooting the day before. They cry, and they cry all night. If Mike Tyson punches 10 of us in the face in a bar fight, I assure you our noses will react in exactly the same way. When you show somebody Robbie Parker or an inflated tire below the North Tower, or explain how 40 people in the first 60 seconds in Orlando were killed, and that situation can never turn into a 2-hour hostage situation, they don't see what we see. They don't see the impossibility of what we're presenting. It's not because they're just trying to protect their psyche. It's more than that at this point. At this point, I must assume that they literally can't see it, or it's not part of their reality. Reality breakdowns are everywhere we look, and we won't keep on the table that they simply can't see it. In just one day of being sick, trolling around the internet, I learned that the moon is actually in the Earth's atmosphere, and I learned that Nobel Prize winners for creating the HIV test now say there's no link at all between HIV and AIDS, and it's the AZT drugs that kill people, not HIV. Then I, in my 103-degree fever hallucination, troll around the internet some more, and I see a doctor inject himself with the HIV virus at a press conference. Now, this should be the biggest story of all time, but it's completely unreported by the news. It looks like an old press conference. Why wasn't it a big news in the late 90s? Maybe it wasn't part of reality. Who knows? Every metaphysical, bizarre anomaly has to be on the table at this point. We are getting a reality breakdown weekly. That's not possible using normal assumptions. For years, I racked my brain trying to understand why things that are so clear can't be seen by the people around us. That's the main reason for my reality bubble theory. Meaning, to a large degree, we all may carry around our own reality, albeit with shared elements. For example, inside everybody's reality bubble, Brady and the Patriots won their 6th Super Bowl. We all share that in our reality bubble. Because we share that, and we share other trivial nonsense the system projects from its screen, we assume the set of knowledge inside each of our reality bubbles is exactly the same. It may not be the same at all. The evidence now suggests it's not the same. The word universe, or one unique individual verse, carried forth by a real spirited being of this realm, implies in the name itself we may be carrying around literally our own realities. When one reality bubble bumps into another, or impinges or infringes on another, then potentially they merge, like water finding its level. But until that's done, we may carry our own realities with shared elements. It's just, you just can't take that off the table at this point. There's too many bizarro world things going on out the window. Let me ask you this. If what I just presented is even a bit accurate, whose reality bubble is carrying the most hell? Who's holding and propagating the hellish earth? We are. Matt is. To us, the government is run by archonic beings sucking our energy and enslaving us. To us, it makes perfect sense that the Tuskegee experiment took place, where the government killed off hundreds of poor black people, lying to them about what was wrong with them while monitoring their syphilis from a distance as they died over decades. See, to us, we see the sinister nature. To us, that's all normal. We could lecture for 10 hours, each of us could lecture for 10 hours, without notes about the horror in this world that we see now, which means we carry the horror. What does your neighbor think about the world? Well, he or she thinks that it's natural for a bit of corruption to creep into anything this big, but the government is generally there to help people. My neighbor may see that the banking system is stacked to benefit the rich, but he probably thinks that providing such liquidity opens the door to new home ownership for millions, and benefits of the whole system far outweigh the negatives. Sure, our neighbor turns on the TV and sees the political scandal, the endless Russian hack the election and all the other nonsense, but he believes deep down that good people will eventually get to the bottom of it and correct the wrong. We see that the scandal is completely